100 equals 20x minus 50.
Putnam City is a school district that had spent the last few years cutting down on class size. The district had made great progress. Stan Bryant's 9th grade algebra class is a comfortable 30 students. But that may change. Next February and March, school officials say teachers will start noticing the budget cuts. While the students worked out their math problems, they had little idea that less and less money will be spent on them. Less will be spent on teachers like Stan Bryant. He's been teaching 12 years and faces an uncertain future.
It's discouraging to us, and we wonder now, what's the point in going on? Fortunately, though, that feeling will pass and we will go on and we'll do what's necessary to keep our schools going. But it's going to be harder. We're not going to have the supplies. The class size is going to go up. It's going to be a tougher job, and we're not going to be able to do as well.
So even the Putnam City School District, which was in pretty good shape, will start feeling the pinch very soon. Bella Shaw, Action 4, Ed Hefner Junior High.
Of course, in that $58 million, a big portion of that was federal funds. But there again, we can't use federal funds if we don't have state matching funds. So those programs have to go by the wayside, the same as do state funded funds projects. We'll continue our necessary maintenance in the various divisions. But so far as new construction is concerned, yes, we're literally out of business. We will eliminate the December bid opening. That will be canceled, hopefully by commission action Monday. We will postpone the January bid opening, and we will postpone the February bid opening. At that time, hopefully, we will have some indication of what level of funding the Transportation Department will have.
Centennial celebration here still needs a good deal of planning done. It needs to be financed. It needs to have finalized what buildings are going to be constructed, if any, what use they're to be put to, I think the theme is fairly obvious. It's our centennial celebration. But a good deal of planning, organizing, construction perhaps, and development. Fortunately, we have a reasonable amount of time to do that.
this community has made a substantial contribution to the success of our rodeo. We feel warmly welcomed whenever we come to the city, and we this year are once again feeling that warm feeling as we're halfway through the 1983 National Finals Rodeo. Each year, new things have been added by the Chamber of Commerce and the Citizens Committee to make us feel welcome in Oklahoma City, and I'll tell you that they have been greatly successful in convincing the cowboys that this is an excellent place to hold the NFR.
Like other state agencies, the Oklahoma prison system will be receiving a smaller slice of the budget pie. Unlike other state agencies, the Corrections Department is not crying over the cuts.
When it comes down to the bottom line, I think most of the people now have adjusted to this and feel good that we'll have better government because it forces you to be good managers at the same time, or efficient managers. We'll have some things that make us feel bad. But I personally feel like that this whole process is probably going to be beneficial to this agency.
The Corrections Department plans to spread the financial pain system-wide. The cuts will impact inmates, guards, and administrators. The department's 3,000 employees will be furloughed one day each month without pay through next June. Prison reformers claim the cuts will raise prison tensions.
I'm wondering how are the inmates or prisoners going to maintain such a standard of living by furnishing themselves with clothing, postage, and money for copies. I think that within itself will agitate loan sharking, gambling, and what have you.
The legislature may make some changes which could soften the budget blows. Hopefully, the Corrections Department will be streamlined enough to run Oklahoma's prisons without extra financial help. Scott Wallace, Action 4.
Out of this. Denman's the baby. We want to get this thing at issue as soon as we can. We'd like these people to have a Merry Christmas if that's possible. We know we can't get to trial before the first of the year, but we're ready to push, and we're going to push, and we're going to get this thing to trial. It's not going to be one of these deals where it's delay, delay, delay. We're ready to go to trial. We want to prove these people innocent, and we're going to.
Other areas and find out what it is that we $1,000 impact, but good management does include disaster, which according to the newspaper 30% of state expenses make. No decisions are to be made today, but rather to clarify issues, to answer questions of specific board members, to find out and receive information so that we can come back with further information to the board at a later date. 5 to 1982 increase from the
Nebraska children no longer have a school to go to, the state of Nebraska has closed the Faith Christian School because teachers there are not certified, and that is against Nebraska law. Their fathers have been in jail since Thanksgiving for refusing to obey that ordered closure. They contend the state should not interfere with their children's education. They say that education is in God's hands. State statutes here in Oklahoma are different. Private schools like this one are not required to have certified teachers, although if they don't, they cannot be accredited by the state. There is growing concern amongst parents here in Oklahoma City over that Nebraska case, but they say accreditation is not the issue. The real issue, they tell us, is who has the ultimate responsibility for the kids, the state or the parents.
I'm outraged about it. I am just heartbroken about it. I cannot believe it.
Marge Lewis put her children in a Christian academy in Newcastle after becoming disgusted with public school systems.
I have never had any doubt about my children getting a good quality education, even if the teachers were not college-educated people. We still have a headmaster that is overseeing all of it and seeing to it that things are done properly.
Marge Lewis claims Nebraska is violating the Constitution. But Judy Leach with the Oklahoma Department of Education disagrees.
My feeling is that it is not a violation of the Constitution. It is if we are going to be in this profession, then I feel that it is one of the steps to becoming a professional, and that is meeting certification requirements.
2 + 8 = 10. 4 + 4 = 8.
Again, teachers in private schools in Oklahoma do not have to be certified. Some of these here at Christian Heritage are not. There are 135 schools like this one operating in Oklahoma that are not accredited, but they are open. Tomorrow, supporters of the Faith Christian School in Nebraska go to Washington to try and rally President Reagan's support. Terry Cook, Action 4.
Can't very well expect come plant startup next September to have all 30 million. The country knows what its demand is, currently processing the gas through the processing plant. That area has been chosen because it's where we have a lot of activity, and our gathering systems have been extended in that area, and we plan to hook up a lot more gas in that area because of the extensive drilling.
And then finally down.
I would say right now that all the employees at OETA have had a reasonably good attitude considering the situation. I think the morale can tend to go down in a situation like this, particularly if there's no hope for the future. I don't want to say doom and gloom, and I don't want to indicate that, OETA is just going to go away here in a few months. Nothing like that.
The cold seemed to get worse as the day wore on. Oklahoma City was stung by single-digit temperatures and a wind chill factor of as much as 40 below. With the wind gusting from 25 to 30 miles an hour, officials advised residents not to stay outside for more than a few minutes at a time. The frigid air blowing over area lakes turned the shoreline into scenes of solid ice. However, predictions of heavy snow never materialized. City road crews had been up most of the night loading trucks with salt and sand, but only one load even left the garage. By late morning, most of the crews had been sent home, but they may be back tonight.
If we have any feeling at all for whether people give us any indication that we're going to have, we'll have enough people working throughout tonight where we'll try to be in as good a shape as we possibly can in the morning. we've got about 300 people in the street division, and we would throw out hand crews besides your mechanical spreaders, things of this nature, and work throughout the night if need be.
The biggest problem for the city was water mains, which ruptured in the frigid temperatures. At several locations around the city, workers had the unenviable task of trying to fix the breaks without freezing in the process. But for the city, the cold weather meant trouble in more ways than just one. Some city machinery simply refused to start in the cold temperatures, making repairs difficult, if not impossible. And if that wasn't bad enough for the city, the temperatures aren't expected to get any better tonight. Jeff Fowler, Action 4.
Singer Connie Lee traveled from Minnesota to entertain her first Oklahoma City audience last night. Only the promoter of the show allegedly skipped town with all the ticket money and any chance of Connie Lee performing at the Civic Center. Her show was supposed to benefit underprivileged children. Miss Lee says she had never been so ready to sing.
I'd still like the show to go on, even if, things like that, because it wasn't the children's fault that it's, and it's for the underprivileged children. And being I'm still here, I'm willing to donate my time and go and do the show. And the guys, the band of the Country Review, and we've got the show all worked out, and we're so anxious just to get out there and do the show for them.
Civic Center officials appreciated Lee still wanting to give a free concert there, but they could not open the center's doors that easily.
In a building like this, you can't just open the doors and say, here's a concert. Stagehands have to be secured, ushers have to be secured, insurance arranged for. There are a few other things that have to be arranged before a concert can occur.
Oklahoma City police are investigating AB Productions to see if a crime has been committed. For now, authorities were called in because a deposit check from the promoters to the Civic Center bounced. Nearly 7,000 tickets were supposedly sold for the Connie Lee concert through AB Productions, but police say no official charges can be filed until ticket holders complain about not seeing a performance. Ed Stewart, Action 4.
Well, it's down to the wire now. In a little over 24 hours, like it or not, Christmas 1983 will be here. So attention shoppers, it's time to hustle. Fortunately, the Toys R Us store on the south side will be open non-stop through 8 o'clock tomorrow night. But at this late date, anywhere you go, be prepared to find
Total bedlam.
total bedlam and craziness and long lines. Because even though there are many organized souls who completed their shopping early, there are far more who will be jamming the stores till the last moment.
One more gift.
One more?
One more.
What is it?
I don't know yet. It's just the last decision, you know. Been trying to decide what we wanted to get our little girl, so tonight's the night we decided to get it.
Just a tip or two for tomorrow. It will be cold and crowded and more than likely less than merry. But remember the silver lining in every cloud.
There's better sales, too, the closer you get to Christmas.
Dan Slocum, Action 4. The last trip before the big day. It's a hurried scene that's acted out with the same intensity every Christmas Eve day. There aren't any particular advantages to shopping late. Oh, some prices are a bit lower. But for many shoppers, there are some good reasons for putting it off.
I didn't have any money till yesterday.
That's a good reason.
It's true.
And some not so good reasons.
Everywhere you try to check out and you can't check out because there's a big line. You try to eat and there's a big line there. Big line everywhere.
Despite the rush and last-minute split decisions, Christmas seems to bring out the best in all of us. And the closer the time comes to deck the halls, the more you see even hurried shoppers spreading Christmas cheer.
Here you go. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I think everybody's more cheery because they know, like tonight, you know, Santa Claus is coming to town and everybody's Merry Christmas, and there's not so much bumping into everybody and everybody pushing and shoving. I think they're more in the happy spirit.
That's a pack deal to return.
Second anniversary, too. Oh. Bye.
The flights are awful. We have a lot of standbys going out.
We waited from Houston to Oklahoma City 2 days to get here. So if we just get half that going back, we'll be satisfied.
You know, the holiday season is the most difficult time of the year for the alcoholic. The temptation to drink now is greater than at any other time. And then there's a whole different group who, for the first time this year, are posing the question, am I an alcoholic?
The things to look for, the early warning signs. Do you find that you drink more drinks than the people you're with? That when you're in mixing people a drink, you're taking a little snort yourself? Do you find that you're thinking about drinking all of the time or a lot of the time? That is, you're planning your parties or your holidays around the amount of drinking that's going to go on. Someone says, so-and-so wants us to come over, and you go, oh, they hardly drink at all. Or you find yourself resisting, wanting to go over there. Ask yourself, is it because they don't use the chemical very much?
Another early warning sign is what we call the blackout. Now, I mean by this that you wake up the next morning and do not remember several hours of the evening before. That's a definite sign you've gone overboard.
Blackouts, gulping drinks, drinking before you go out to drink, the patterns of drinking, having a stiff one in the morning to get rid of the hangover caused by drinking the night before, getting in emotional issues, having personality change. You become hostile when you drink, or you become a lover when you drink. But when you're just yourself, you don't do those things. Those are all signs that this chemical is mind-changing.
Now, if any of these symptoms sounds familiar to you, it's time to do something about it. It may be that you or some loved one has tried and nothing's worked. Well, next time we'll talk about some ideas that you might consider. I'm Dr. Red Duke. You know, the world is full of alcoholics that say they would give anything to stop drinking. They say they've tried everything. Well, let me tell you, if you're still drinking, you haven't tried everything.
AA is the greatest answer to the problem of alcoholism. If somebody's sitting out there and they've tried, go back to AA and quit kidding yourself about it. Quit conning yourself that you don't belong there. If you have a drinking problem, you belong there.
My friend, if you have a drinking problem, what you may not realize is that you also have a social problem. Drinking is also a social disease. This means simply that the cure has to be both personal and social. Alcoholics Anonymous allows you to meet daily with people who are trying to whip the disease.
And that's what is least understood. Many times people with drinking problems won't go to AA, and they don't understand that's the, if you're out there and you've tried AA, you haven't tried it. You haven't tried it till you've totally committed, in all honesty, 90 days at least, going to a meeting every day. Then you'll know what it's about. And if at that point you say it's not for me, and can say that honestly, man, I'll go totally with that.
A true alcoholic cannot stop drinking on his own. It takes help from professionals, a mapped-out program, and a lot of love from those closest to you. I'm Dr. Red Duke. You know, the largest group of people that are affected by alcohol are the families of the alcoholic. For every alcoholic, there are 4 other people intimately involved and affected. The message today is to those 60 million Americans whose families have an alcoholic in it. Every alcoholic has someone that watches after him, someone that makes sure he's nurtured and cared for after a drinking binge. Now, these good folks are well-intentioned and really think they're helping the alcoholic. But my friend John Bradshaw says they're only helping the alcoholic remain an alcoholic.
Don't pick your husband up at the bar. Don't pick him up in his vomit. Let him lay there and experience the consequences caused by his sick, crazy behavior.
Now, friend, if your spouse drinks, I know it's difficult, but you're going to have to stop rescuing that person.
Sometimes the people who work with alcoholics are real hard, what we call hard love. We leave people in jail. We leave people asleep in their cars on the side of the road. Because when you wake up asleep in your car, you wake up in jail, it's a rude interruption.
Now, for those of you that are married to alcoholics, please keep one thing in mind. The non-alcoholic isn't perfect either.
Everybody looks at the marriage and goes to the non-alcoholic, you poor thing. Are you a wonderful person living with this drunk or whatever? Now, the problem with that is that whatever the problems are of that marriage, they get blamed on one person. And that's never true, that the problems are just one person's problems.
Have a safe and sober 1984. I'm Dr. Red Duke.